Welcome to the NTSC 5 and 5 series where I, Ashwin Krishnan, host amazing CISOs in short conversations. Today, my guest is Gowen, the CISO at Synovus. The questions I ask him are, does the CISO have to show ROI and security investment? How does the API ecosystem complicate a CISO's life? Cybersecurity being a choice between risk and probability. How do you decide priorities? And two really personal questions. Watch on. So Kevin, in this current environment, how does the role of a CISO showing ROI to the business? I mean, how realistic is it and what has been your experience doing that?
Yeah, that's a really hard one. I think if I were asked to bring a true business case with an ROI for every security investment, that's a tall order. I think what I try to focus on is translating it into business terms. And that's not necessarily just ROI, but here's the risk, the potential risk impact, which has financial dimensions. It also has non-financial ones. So I try to speak the language of business, but I think an expectation I can show an ROI, it's like an insurance policy. It's hard to show an ROI on your auto insurance policy until you have a wreck. I prefer not to have a cyber wreck to justify the investments, but I do recognize you have to be able to cast it in business terms.
Got it. So talking about the API ecosystem and the B2B integrations that are like rampant all over, how does this combination of third-party software, open source, as they get integrated into the software stack, if you will, of your organization, how does this complicate the life of a CISO and what can he or she do about it?
Yeah, it's another angle of the fact that we no longer manage a perimeter, right? Everyone's ecosystem is so complex. I think the good thing is there's a lot of innovation going on in the tool space to help people manage their APIs and manage security of their broader ecosystem, all the third-party connections. But it's a huge, complicated problem where we see a lot of focus from regulators and others, and understanding the risk of those environments is hard. Yes, it makes it more complicated. It's an area that I really spent a lot of time worrying about, but I think there are a lot of things we can do. And also the basics, just understanding, making sure you know what your ecosystem is. What does your perimeter look like? Who are you connected to? And then leveraging technology to help you manage and stay aware of the posture of all of those things.
It's often been quoted as cybersecurity is a choice between risk and probability, right? When it comes to deciding budgets, priorities, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's a few things to think about, right? One is I want to make sure when the business is making business decisions, they understand the cyber and cyber risk component of it, because that's a piece of it when they're establishing their priorities. When it comes to how I think about priorities for the cyber program, I look at two things. First is the overall maturity of our program, right? I'm not trying to build the greatest program in the world. The idea, I don't have to outrun the bear necessarily. I just have to outrun some other people. So where do we stack up versus peers? And what are some of the gaps we know we need to close? And what does our roadmap look like? And we're working on that. Then the other piece is what's on the horizon? What are the new and emerging risks and threats? Do we need to be spending time and effort in investing in and being proactive? You can't always wait to react to everything. So those are the big drivers, gaps in the program and ongoing maturity, and then what's new and different on the landscape that we need to be prepared for. Okay, so switching gears to a personal side, right? I mean, what's your one big life regret and why? Ooh, boy, that's a tough one. I've had situations where, I've lost folks, and you always in those scenarios, frankly, look back a little bit and think about all the things you could have done, should have done, would have done. So I use that really to think about, the idea of in the future, postpone nothing, right? If there's something that's important to you, do it. If there's something you need to tell somebody, tell them, don't put it off. So that whole category of regret, right? The things you wish you could have done or wish you'd said and just missed the opportunity. And you don't ever get those back.
And last question, what makes it heart dance and your eyes light up?
Oh boy, I can answer that in a bunch of different contexts. I love being outdoors. So being outdoors, doing things, running, things like that, being active just kind of energizes me. It clears my head. It gives me a greater appreciation for what's going on in the world and all the things we're surrounded by. I just came back from a vacation. It was a hiking trip in Spain. And there's something just very satisfying about get up in the morning, put on your backpack and just go walk and just be surrounded by nature and beauty and meet new people. And that's the kind of thing that's really fun for me.
Awesome. Thanks for your time.